Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk is a very smart man. He's not going to simply give $44 billion without finding out how many genuine, real, actual profiles there are on Twitter. He's not going to simply go ahead and give them $44 billion to purchase a company that has a whole bunch of fake accounts. And so he's going to investigate before he purchases the company. The deal will go through. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. We're going to talk about this. And this is a topic I've been passionate about. I told everyone, I said, they don't have actual numbers that they can prove pertaining to their daily active users or daily monetizable users. I've been talking about this for about a year now pertaining to Twitter. I said the company is going to be the MySpace of social media. Hit subscribe to this channel right now unless something like this takes place and Elon Musk purchases the company. Hit subscribe to this channel, to my super chat. I can't do this without you, ladies and gentlemen. If you enjoy these live streams, your super chat is extremely, extremely important. Hit subscribe to my new members on this channel. Thank you. We have a growing community on H.A. Goodman. We're almost 200,000 subs. I have a great segment on Twitter, on the stock market, and Bitcoin crash that I predicted. Ladies and gentlemen, go to my playlist. If you go to my playlist, you can see, if you go to the playlist, ladies and gentlemen, you can see on this channel that I've been talking about Bitcoin crashing and cryptocurrencies crashing for a long time. I think that's part of the reason Elon Musk is purchasing Twitter. He knows that Tesla stock's going to go way down, far. It's going to descend further down than it already has. The market is going to continue to collapse. But ladies and gentlemen, hit subscribe to my super chat. Thank you. We have a lot to talk about. This is a very interesting topic. They say that 5% of users on Twitter are not actual accounts. It's a lot more than 5%. A lot more than 5%. Ronald, Randy, everybody here, thank you. Hello. Eric, Kristen, everybody here. Nanya Business, hello. I hope all is well, everybody. Long live Kevin Samuels the King. Hello. Everybody here, thank you. So let's continue. Twitter to pay $809.5 million to sell 2016 lawsuit over growth projections. They had to pay almost $1 billion, ladies and gentlemen, because they lost a lawsuit because they were not telling the truth. Jack Dorsey and the rest of Twitter were not telling the truth. They were lying about how many people actually tweet and buy products and are active on the platform. It's a platform that is no longer really alive. That's why Elon Musk is purchasing it, to kind of bring life back to it. It's becoming more and more irrelevant. It's losing its relevance daily. And you don't know how many people on Twitter are actually there are sometimes tweets and it's like a copy and paste. So it'll be like, Trump is a menace to democracy and all living life forms. And you will see the exact same tweet, the exact same, verbatim, the exact same quote on 50 or 60 different profiles. Probably the worst thing about Twitter is that people can hide behind a fake profile. It could either be part of a program, or they can hide behind it just to try to torment or insult or, disparage people. Especially on the left, they get a kick from that. You'll have journalists, ladies and gentlemen. You will have left-leaning journalists, and I know who these people are. Tig! U.S. Appleton, Wisconsin, thank you so much. Their head's blown. Tig, thank you. Thank you, Tig. Greatly appreciated. D-Rock, hello. Thank you, Tig. David, hello. Tig, thank you so very much for starting it off. Tom Pennington, thank you. Thank you very much, Tom. And I told everybody, Tom and Tig and everybody here, Eric, everybody here, David, I said, get off of Twitter, get off of Facebook. And I'm telling you right now, look, I'm not going to get on Truth Social or Twitter, even though I have to be honest. Tom and Tig and everybody here, I have to be honest with you. Tom, I have to be honest with you. And Tig, and thank you so very much to my super chat. There's a part of me, ladies and gentlemen, that wants to go back on Twitter. There's a part of me, ladies and gentlemen, that wants to open up a Truth Social, Twitter, other accounts. But I'm not going to do so because it is a trap. It is a dystopian, nightmarish world. I want to live in reality as much as I can. Now, YouTube and live streams, and this is like a VHS. There's not much difference between a VHS tape and what you're watching right now. Yes, it's live. You can't do that with a VHS. I get it. But this is like video on demand. You could go in the 80s or 90s to Blockbuster or to your local VHS store and, rent Indiana Jones and put the VHS into your VHS machine, and you could rewind and rewind forward. Who remembers that? Okay? I had no problem. I was like the last person to do away with VHS. I was, believe me, the last person to rent VHS tapes from Blockbuster. I can tell you that. The last human on this planet to rent VHS tapes. Okay? I had no problem with that. And so this is not a message board based platform. Tom, thank you again. Tig, thank you. Cindy, hello. Everybody here, hello. Global, hello. Now, this is not a message board based platform. Twitter is a glorified message board where you have a limited amount of words that you can write, and it is about harnessing emotion. It is not about information. Twitter is a platform that harnesses and amplifies and suppresses emotion. And one political side, the Democratic Party, has utilized that platform to amplify emotion. Propaganda is about emotion. Distrust, suspicion, angst, contempt, frustration, anger, excitement, passion. That's what Twitter is about. It is not about information. When they say information is mis or dis type of information, I have to speak in a roundabout way just because that's the world we live in. I'm not going to I'm long-winded naturally, but I have to speak in a bizarre, peculiar manner because of even, definitely on this platform, you have to abide by certain guidelines. You don't know what is allowed, what isn't. So the word mis, and then information, it's not about information. It is about, when they say we're going to have a governance board or the government filter correct information to the populace, they're not talking about the actual data or fact or even the reasoning. They're talking about the emotion that is correlated with the information. For example, if you distrust certain politicians, if you are skeptical of certain experts or authorities, if you decide upon a course of action that you deem appropriate for your life, okay, for example, nobody would ever tell you, no Democrat would ever tell you to buy Tesla or to buy Microsoft at a certain dollar amount. But they will tell you to do more important things with your life. And if you disagree with them or you don't trust them, if you are skeptical of their decision-making as it pertains to your life, that's a huge problem. Do you understand? It's not about information. No! Support HJ so you can get reliable news. The place where this is possible, the places where this is possible are dwindling. Thank you so very much, Noto. Thank you, Noto. Thank you so very much. Tom, Tig, Noto, greatly appreciate it. Thanks for the kind words, Noto. I hope you're having a good evening and a great weekend. Thank you so very much for the kind words. Greatly, greatly appreciated. So, Noto, they had to pay almost $1 billion. I mean, could you imagine, Noto, Tom, Tig, everybody here, Eric, David, could you imagine if you had to pay $1 billion for lying about the platform that you've created? So their user growth is not really growing. It's declining, but see, here's how they get away with that. The growth is declining, but they say, well, our daily active users, those are increasing in number. Well, the class action lawsuit found out that their daily active users, or their daily monetizable users, were declining or staying flat. And they lost, if you look at they lost $1 billion, 1.4 billion, and then 221 million, because they keep losing lawsuits because they lie all the time. And this is the platform, by the way, like we have existing laws that protect people from harmful speech. Noto, everybody here, we have existing laws that protect people. Thank you again, Noto. Greatly appreciated. I appreciate your generosity. Thank you, Noto. And Ty and everyone here. And Tom, thank you again. We have existing laws that predate Twitter that protect people. But if you look, you can look right here. This is not a company you want to invest in. This is a train wreck. This is a train wreck. $67 million loss, $164 million, $79 million loss, $645 million loss, $577 million loss, $521 million loss, $456 million, $108 million. Okay, so they got $1 billion in income and 1.4 billion, and then back to 1.3 to 1.4 billion in loss, and then $221 million in loss. Do you want to invest in this company? You think is this the company, ladies and gentlemen, you want to invest in? Why do you think Elon Musk is purchasing this because he knows that his adversaries will use Twitter against him. He also knows that the crypto and Bitcoin crash that I predict, if you go on this channel, ladies and gentlemen, and here we can go, you could just go, you can go on this channel, people. Good old H.A. Badman. I urge everyone, ladies and gentlemen, go to the community. No, sorry, go to the playlist. Okay, go to the playlist. Go to the playlist, ladies and gentlemen, on your own free time. And you could see, Lord, you could see, okay, on September 9th, 2021, I am predicting on September 9th, 2021, a stock market crash that we're seeing now. But if you look, ladies and gentlemen, I also talked about the Bitcoin crash. And Bitcoin, I was saying, Bitcoin to $10,000. I was saying, where's the Bitcoin? That's one, but so right here, I was talking about Bitcoin crashes to 10,000. January 11th. On January 11th, and the Dow, I'm saying, is going to get closer to 20,000. It'll definitely get below 25,000. But Bitcoin crashes to $10,000. I was saying that in January, while it was still at all-time highs, ladies and gentlemen. And if I know this, Elon Musk knows a lot more than I do. All these billionaires sold $70 billion in stock. $70 billion in stock. Hey, guy, hello. So I have been telling people, and it's like, if, the people on my channel, thankfully, aren't really invested in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Many are. But I think that, I've tried to transition to, the stock market crash channel as well. And on the stock market crash channel, I was talking about Bitcoin. Here's another January 11th, hold on. January 20th, hold on one second. But there are a couple where if you look, stock market crash, Biden's cryptocurrency crash, September. Ladies and gentlemen, I was talking about Biden's cryptocurrency crash on September 12th, 2021. This is one of the reasons Elon Musk purchased Twitter. He knows what's going on. Look, he might not be the richest man in the world very long. He knows that he has a lot of cryptocurrency, or he has a lot of money in Bitcoin, and the thing's tanking. So why doesn't he buy Twitter? I mean, think about it from his perspective. He can buy Twitter and actually kind of make it maybe a profitable company. It's losing hundreds of millions of dollars and billions of dollars, has $4 billion in debt, and its daily monetizable users are tanking. But if you look, I was talking about on September 12th, Biden's cryptocurrency crash begins as he teams with Facebook to regulate Bitcoin. Now, I talked about a number of reasons why I think Bitcoin's going to crash. It's crashed like $30,000 since around that time. And I told everybody on this channel, get out of the market if you need the money. Get out of the market if you need the money. Now, this is an article, Twitter keeps losing monthly users, so it stopped sharing how many. This is 2 years before they lost, a year before they lost close to $1 billion in the lawsuit. They lie about their daily active users because they make it up. Look, do you know, honestly, give me a number below in the chat. How many people do you know in your life that are on Twitter every day? Okay, thankfully I don't know anybody on Twitter every day, okay? How many people do you know, ladies and gentlemen? Let's just say, how many people do you know? If the answer is 0, just put 0. You probably don't know many people on Twitter. You probably don't know many people that are on Twitter every single day because it's like that. The platform is not important anymore to the lives of people. Now, they kicked Trump off the platform, which is like probably the dumbest move possible. Be at peace, hello. Exactly. After Elon, maybe, exactly. But before Elon Musk, exactly. Sai, exactly. Anon, hello. So, the thing is, if they were accurate in their numbers, because they say that they have millions upon millions of people. This is what they say. Tell me if you believe this. Twitter is particularly popular in the U.S. Okay, so I can tell you right now these numbers are not accurate. They have almost 70 million people in the United States of America on Twitter. If that's true, then it's 70 million people who happen to open up an account and haven't touched the account in months or years. On a daily basis, just from what I know of Twitter, I used to have about 30,000 followers on Twitter. Okay, and then I deleted the account 3 years ago. I can tell you that in politics, in the realm of politics, you only have about, when you include every relevant or important or influential journalist or pundit or activist or politician, you're looking at maybe 1,000 people. Not even that. Maybe 1,000. Maybe. I would say probably like 200, 300, 400 people that you can say, okay, these 200, 300 people, if they say something, like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 people will hear what they say or more. And then there's maybe 100 people that when they tweet something, tens of thousands of people could find out potentially. Not 69, not 70 million people. I'm sorry, that's nonsense. Is that not? You think that there's 70 million active users in the United States of America on Twitter? Anthony, thank you. Do you think there's 70 million active users on Twitter? Anthony, Noto, Tom, Tig. Do you think there's 70 million active users on Twitter? Of course not. You think there's 50 active users, 50 million people in Japan or 17.5 in India? Which, by the way, makes no sense. The second most populous country in the world has only 17 million people. And by the way, if you're not doing well in India, you're not going to be successful as a social media platform. India is a very important market for social media and for technology. So, and they were almost kicked out of India for not following the laws of that country, which is like they did the fantastic thing. Narendra Modi's government did the right thing. Basically said, look, if you don't follow the laws of India, then you're going to be kicked out of this country. And immediately Twitter said, okay, we won't side with your opposition, the opposition political party. How on earth do they have only 17 million users in India? See, that alone makes no sense. That alone makes no sense at all. None of this makes any sense. They're like, Anthony, thank you again. Anthony Scott, thank you. Greatly appreciated. To my super chat, thank you. It makes no sense. And here's the issue with these numbers. And this is why, like, Elon Musk knows he's paying a lot more than it's worth. And he's probably going to pay less now. The United States of America is the one place on the planet where Twitter is influential still in terms of politics. Twitter is not influential in other countries. It's not influential. It goes from 70 million in America to 50 million in Japan. I think that number is even more absurd than the 70 million here. Then it drops to 17 million in India, the second largest country in the world. Then 16 million in UK, 16 million in Brazil, 14 million in Indonesia, 13 million in Turkey. Okay, and then it goes to 8 million in France. Okay. So, and then you can look. You can look at the people who have. President Obama has 118 million followers on Twitter. Do you think that 118 million Americans know what President Obama tweets? No, a tiny fraction even care and even know. Then Justin Bieber has 111.7. Then Katy Perry has 108. Rihanna has 96 million. Taylor Swift has 86 million. And then you have Trump with 80 million. But see, the thing is, with Donald Trump, the 80 million Donald Trump has, like, if he said something, the entire planet would retweet it, would quote it, would all that, So that's a little bit different. And then they alienated 73 million Americans. So, and then they're lying through their teeth here daily. This is why they lost the lawsuit. They're saying that 35 million Americans, daily active users is 35 million in 2020. That is a lie. There aren't 35 million Americans who are actively on Twitter every day. That is a lie. If you want to say there's 35 million Americans who tweet once a month, maybe I'd believe you. Maybe. I think that maybe a sizable percentage of 35 million tweeting once a month. Okay? Exactly. Fox Rider, hello. To my super chat, thank you. So, I mean, it's like, and then you have by age group. See here, I don't think a quarter. This is nonsense. This is absolute nonsense. I have cousins who are like teenagers. None of them are on Twitter. This is nonsense. Okay, Twitter by age group, 25% 18 to 24. No, a quarter of 18 to 24-year-olds are not on Twitter. It's a platform that has zero relevance to young people. Okay, Instagram maybe, but then even Instagram is not as important as it once was. 25 to 34, then another quarter, no. Maybe the 35 to 49, yeah, I believe that. I'll believe, I think it's a much older audience than people think. Just like Facebook is a much older audience. So, I mean, they're lying. That's why they had to, pay $809 million. They keep losing lawsuits and they get kicked out of countries and they just lie all the time. It's not worth $44 billion. The company is, Louis, hello, Louis Perez, hello, thank you. The company is, hi, Caroline, hello. The company's losing money, okay? This is, here, let's get back to the money it lost. It loses money almost every quarter. It's lost money every single quarter or every single year except 2 years. It's been in existence since 2010. It's only made a profit in 2 years. They lost money in 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 17 they lost money, and the only times they made money is 18 and 19. Then they lost a lot of money in 2020 and 2021. And they have $4 billion in debt. And they don't even know how many like bots or like spam or fake profiles there are. So, I mean, of course, Elon Musk, he didn't make all this money. He says he only has Tesla and Bitcoin. So Tesla shares are going to descend even further. The reason that Elon Musk is here, this is declining profit margins. Declining profit margins are a hurdle. This is December 28th. Declining profit margins are a hurdle. Well, it's, 10 years, 12 years into Twitter's existence, and the profit margins are declining, and they're lying about their user data. And it's a platform that's, like, losing its relevance. So, but if you look, ladies and gentlemen, let's see here. Tesla price. So he knows he has Bitcoin and he has Tesla, and both are going to continue to descend. So in 6 months, and I told everybody, I said the thing is going to crash. Ladies and gentlemen, in the realm of politics, not one person in October of 2021 was telling people. And I was. Now, I don't think Tesla is going to be at $769 a share. It'll probably be when when the market absolutely collapses further. Because I tell people, like, friends, family members, I'll be like, I predicted it. And they're like, you didn't predict anything. This is just a correction. You don't know what even you're talking about. I'm like, unfortunately, I don't want this to happen. I don't want people to lose money. I don't even want my adversaries to lose money. I don't want, I don't want anyone to lose money. But it's going to collapse further. But Tesla stock is going to get to like 350 or, hold on, let's see, it's going to probably get to about 400, 350. In 2 years, ladies and gentlemen, it went from, in 2 years, people, it went from like 330 to $1,222. The PE ratio is still 104, sorry. The price to earnings ratio. For a car company that's like skyrocketing price to earnings ratio. For a car company. And they face competition. And they face a lot of competition. All those other car companies are going to come out with EVs that eventually will take a lot of market share away from Tesla. It's not rocket science. Herschel! Is Twitter populated with 20% NPC troll? Pretty much. Jeff, I know. Herschel, thank you. Herschel, thank you. So it's like you go from, what was it? The high is well over $1,000 a share. But like, why though? Why? Because it's growing now. It will subside. The growth will stop. I know that it's an amazing company. I know that it's amazing. It's an amazing company. But at the same time, it's the market share. There will be other car companies that will take market share away from it. So, and people aren't going to have the money to buy a Tesla when the economy continues to tank. Okay? We have a shortage of baby formula, and like, not everybody can afford a Tesla. I remember I was debating with, a cousin of mine who is a Democrat. I don't debate anybody. He's like, well, why don't you just buy a hybrid? It's like, well, not everybody wants to buy a hybrid. Maybe people like, normal cars that just run on gas. Okay? They think that they want one tank to go a long way, and they don't want to like charge their car at a charging station where you have to wait 10, 20 minutes and get robbed 4 times, especially in a Democratic-run city, or they don't want to deal with a power outage potentially, or they just don't want to spend 60, 70 grand on an electric car vehicle. Or they look into it, which is what I wrote in the Federalist, one of my first articles in the Federalist, lithium, cobalt, nickel, all of these metals are, not good for indigenous people. And I'm on 3, 1, 4, 5, 8. What's Elon gonna actually pay for Twitter? $12 billion. I mean, it'll probably be close to $44 billion. Probably. And I'm on 3, 1, 4, 5, 8. Thank you. Probably close to 40 billion. Maybe 42 billion, because they don't want him to buy it anyway. Now, what he's done is brilliant. What he's done is say, it's not even worth that much. Not even worth that much. But see look, ladies and gentlemen, Anibon 31458, everybody here. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what he's doing, which is pretty awesome? Herschel and Anibon 31458 and Noto and Tom and Tig, what he's doing, ladies and gentlemen, is the following. He knows that his Tesla shares are going to be worth a lot less. He will not be able to buy Twitter in 5 or 6 or 7 months. He knows this. And there's a crash that's going to take place. It takes place before midterms. My God, it'll be historic. Like absolute annihilation of Democrats in Congress. It will be they will absolutely decimate. The current political establishment will be absolutely decimated. I mean, this, if you look, all you have to do is look at the NASDAQ. Look at the NASDAQ. Year to date, it's down 4,000 points. And I told everyone since October of last year, I said, it's going to tank. Now, I watch a lot of financial channels because, my emphasis or, what I'm really interested in or passionate about is more politics. And, 20 years ago, I was a financial advisor, a stockbroker, 20 years ago for a bunch of firms. And, I saw with my own eyes the .com crash. I saw these things. And I said, this thing's going to tank. Then I read, a whole bunch of very, very intelligent people, a handful, were saying the whole thing's going to tank. And I started the Stock Market Crash channel. But see, again, this is not, it's going to get below 10,000. It'll get below 10,000 in the NASDAQ. The whole thing. Becky! Hello, Becky. I hope all is well. Thank you. Thank you, Becky. This whole thing's going to tank. Okay? And it's going to tank because there is no vision. Mashed potato brains and his bumbling, stumbling administration they have no vision. Trump had a vision. That's why there was a resistance. There is no way to resist mashed potato brains Biden. You can't resist him because you can't resist somebody who's inept. You just watch as they just fumble and stumble about. There's no way to resist what he's doing because you don't have Congress, and there's no way to stop. Like, once Republicans take over the House and Senate, they'll do away with the governance board, or they will do away with policies that caused skyrocketing gas prices. There's a lot of things, hopefully, that they'll focus on. Biden's administration is being sued by 14 states and oil and gas companies, and within the lawsuits, they state that your policies are going to increase the cost of oil and gas. That's within they're actually getting sued by oil and gas associations, and the price is skyrocketing, and still the Democrats say, well, he doesn't control the price. Nothing is mashed potato brains Biden's fault. Nothing. Well, there's a shortage in formula. He doesn't control the formula market. Gas prices are through the. He controls the global commodity of oil. I don't think so. He doesn't control the oil market. Okay, there's a geopolitical nightmare. That's not his fault. He doesn't control those countries. Nothing is. Everything's collapsing under his watch, but nothing's his fault. Meanwhile, in the furthest reaches of the universe, something happens. It's Trump's fault. We have to investigate. And so, all of this is taking place under the watch of the adults in charge. It's all taking place. Look. Okay. Let's see if I could just find corporate profits. U.S. corporate profits by year. Here you have U.S. corporate profits by year. Okay, so let's see. That's a good chart, but there was another chart I was looking at. Okay. If we enter into a recession, which we will, that's a good chart, but here, let's just see. All right, look at this chart right here, okay? This is U.S. corporate profits, okay, each year. And total corporate profits, $2.7 trillion, okay? If I'm wrong, if I'm not reading this chart correctly, then correct me in the chat, okay? All the stock prices are still valued at corporate profits being up here. Okay, being up here. But what if they descend back to 2020 levels, which they easily could? Then all the indices descend back to 2020 levels. All the stock prices descend back to 2020 levels. Then Tesla descends back to 2020 levels. Why wouldn't it be plausible or likely? Am I wrong, ladies and gentlemen? You give me your thoughts, and just we'll have a discussion. Because if corporate profits are at record highs now, and we're entering into a recession where inflation now has, Lewis, thank you. If we're entering into a recession, and corporate profits have reached $2.7 trillion, but corporate profits were about $2.1 trillion in 2020, and not even $1.9 trillion in the third quarter or fourth quarter of in 2019. Am I wrong in saying that it's very likely or possible or plausible that you go down to $2 trillion in total corporate profit in the U.S., which completely obliterates the market cap of all these companies, and the Dow, the NASDAQ, S&P, and all these indexes descend further? Am I wrong in that? Because the valuations are based upon corporate profits. But corporations are missing earnings, and corporate profits will decline when there's a recession. And once the impact of stimulus checks, thank you, Adam, thank you, Adam, greatly appreciated. Once the impact of stimulus is no longer around, once the impact of the money, we pumped $10 trillion into the economy, people, $10 trillion, people. $10 trillion. When corporate profits decline, then what happens to Tesla, for example? It's not just about Tesla, it's about the overall economy. When you look at Tesla, and you say, let's look at Tesla stock price today. Okay. And, let's look at Toyota stock price. Okay. So Toyota has a PE ratio of 9. Okay, Toyota has a PE ratio of 9. Okay. And, okay, let's look at the two. Okay, so Tesla has a PE ratio of 104. Okay. And what am I doing here? Where am I? My God. Okay. $17, an earnings per share of $17 compared to earnings per share of 7 for Tesla. And so, you can just look. You can look. This is a car company that's been around a long time. Obviously, it's not as intriguing or enticing as Tesla, but they have their own electric car vehicles, and they'll take market share away. And they have an earnings per share of 9. Tesla has a PE ratio of 9. Tesla has a PE ratio of 104. Okay? And what happens if people start buying more? What happens if people start buying more Toyota EVs? Then you have the stock price. Let's see, maximum. So see, you can look 5-year. You can look right here. The 5-year chart is pretty telling. It hit the highest it's going to be in a long time in November. In October, I wrote my article. I said, the market's going to tank. It's now at 769. It's gone up, back. It went down to 795, went up to 1,000. Now it's down to 769. And then when a recession hits, there's a lot of things that could happen. Recession, problems with certain new Teslas, whatever. Market share that, GM or Ford or Toyota, starts taking market share away. More people like Toyota come out with better electric car vehicles. Then this 769 goes to 300. You would lose half your money in Tesla. You'd lose half your money on Tesla. Because Tesla is going to become more like Toyota, and Toyota will become more like Tesla in a way. And it's not like the one thing Amazon had is that Amazon, the procurement and the warehouses and the fact that they were so efficient, no other company could do that. It's not like no other company can do what Tesla does. There are companies that have electric car vehicles. It's not like, that's why Amazon went through the roof, or Microsoft with Windows, or Apple with their phones. Like, yeah, you could say, well, there are other phones, but yeah, like, people are very, very loyal. And, they claim that, Apple iPhone could do things no other phone could do. I want iPhone. So this could easily be $300 stock. This could go down to $280. It could go down below $280. Easily. Easily. And Elon Musk knows this. He knows this. That's why, look, he knows this. That's why, Susan, hello. That's why he bought Twitter. Okay? He bought Twitter because he knows that eventually he's not going to be the richest man in the world. Okay? And he doesn't care about being the richest man in the world. But he knows that eventually he's not going to have the money. He's not going to have the money to purchase Twitter. Twitter became a platform for one political party to silence and marginalize others. And that's all it was. That's all it was. And he knows that eventually, let's look at S&P. Eventually, he's not going to have, or had he not purchased Twitter, had he not purchased Twitter, wow, look at that. So let's look at the past. Let's look at 5 years. So the S&P will get much closer to 3,000. The S&P 500, something like 40% of it is banks and tech. And so the 60% that's going to experience the repercussions, unfortunately, of a recession, or hedge funds, we're not even talking about the hedge funds collapsing. Now, again, the market could go up the next month, and that would be called a melt-up. That'd be a melt-up. And then come crashing down. Because, the one-day crashes where people are like, oh, my God, it's a crash. That happens when there's euphoria. It could happen next week. I don't know when it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, though. Melt-up is a pre-crash rally. So there's a lot of people who are going to lose a lot of money. And here's the thing. The macro perspective nobody looks at. These are democratic policies. These are democratic policies. So, Pierre Delecto, exactly. These are democratic policies. They pushed to end economic activity. They pushed to end economic activity. They gleefully tanked states. They gleefully tanked, New York, California, every Michigan, every Democratic-run state. The governor said, "Oh, we have to. We just can't. We have to." So they tanked their economies. Then they said, "Well, we'll save you after we've prevented you from working." And then they pumped money into the economy, gave people money. Then they wonder why inflation went up. Well, if you pump money into the economy and it spurs economic growth, that's one thing. Okay? They kept saying, like, Trump's tax cuts. Oh, it increased the deficit. It's like, yeah, but it increased economic growth. People were making more money. And inflation didn't cut into those gains. Now you have decreasing economic growth with increasing inflation. Stagflation. And so, what was the point of pumping all that money into the economy? It was a choice. Then they say, well, when we change our mind, that's because the fact's on the ground. And I'm speaking in roundabout terms. Okay. But, bureaucrats, the very revered bureaucrats say, well, when we changed our mind, we had to. We had to change our mind because, that was a good thing. It's like, well, you can change your mind, but you demand absolute obedience and loyalty. You demand people think that your words are like gospel. And anyone who provides any dissent is marginalized and disparaged and demeaned. And then you have the right to change your mind, but nobody has the right to question you or scrutinize you because God forbid. And then they say, well, yeah, it's okay if we do it. If we change our mind about things, it's okay. Then people who are skeptical or scrutinized for saying certain things, oh my God, they're unable to put food on the table, they're marginalized, they're demeaned, they're disparaged, and then a year, 2 years later, they're proven right. And that's the world we live in. That's the wonderful democracy we live in. Faith! Hello, Faith. Thank you so very, very much, Faith. Thank you, Faith. Kelling, thank you. Greatly appreciated, Faith. Thank you. Greatly, greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. I hope you're having a great Friday. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much, Faith. But the S&P 500, and here's what when I get to the corporate profits, see, corporate profits will descend. When corporate profits descend to levels where the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ were all lower, then those indices will go lower. This isn't rocket science. I'm not some amazing economist. But see, again, if you were... Oh, sorry, you can't see this. Okay. Hold on one second here. Okay. Corporate profits. If it gets down from 2.7 trillion to 2.1 trillion, we're looking at the stock market of 2 years ago, which was way lower than it was now. And it is now way lower. How the crash happens, like we're seeing it in slow motion. Now, I've been telling everybody there's going to be a stock market crash. The market is crashing, but there's not that one day. So if I speak to like family members or cousins or whatever, I'm like, you didn't predict anything. This is just a normal market correction. And I'm like, well, yeah, but when I said it would go down, it went down. And unfortunately, we'll experience that 1, 2, 3 day, 1 week catastrophe. And then there's the issue with the debt market. And there's only so much, bond prices are going down. The Fed's raising interest rates. When the Fed raises interest rates, they're putting the brakes on an economy that's already faltering. Faith, thank you so very much again. Thank you, Faith. To my super chat, thank you. Greatly, greatly, greatly appreciate it. If you want to talk about any subject I can talk about, let's, feel free to do it on super chat. Thank you, Faith. Greatly appreciated. Corporate profits are going to decline. Stock market will decline. And we haven't seen it. People are saying buy the dip. No. Don't buy any dip. Because, whatever. I'm not giving any investment advice. I wouldn't buy any dip. There's no way that I would buy any dip. There's no way at all. Because if you look, ladies and gentlemen, if the S&P 500 was at 3,000 in 2020, and we descend to 2020 levels in terms of corporate profits, which is possible, easily possible. If we have a shortage of formula, okay? If we have a shortage of formula, and we have a shortage of food, and the geopolitical nightmares, two countries that provide the world's food, okay, grains and bread and all these wheat. Easily corporate profits could get to 2020, and in 2020, that's 1,000 points from here. The S&P in 2020 is 1,000 points from this right here, 1,000 points down. That means that Bitcoin gets to easily 10,000 or below. I think Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000. And, it's just a matter of time. It's it's unfortunate because, like I said, Mashed Potato Brains has no idea, he has no vision. There's no vision for, how to get out of this. There is no vision. There is no strategy. There are no ideas. You would think, for example, they had some way of addressing the geopolitical crisis. Lou, thank you. You would think that they had some way of addressing the geopolitical crisis in Europe, but they don't. They don't have any way. They don't want. See, this is the difference between Trump and DeSantis and Mashed Potato Brains Biden. Democrats are more than happy to send armament and all of that. They have no problem. Oh, yes, democracy. It's okay, what about being part of a negotiated solution or deal? Is there some kind of deal that could end these endless hostilities? No, there's no emphasis on that. There's zero emphasis on that. And the longer the geopolitical nightmare goes on, the worse it is for the world. This is not sustainable. What they've done is they've pumped so much money into the economy, and there's $303 trillion in global debt. $303 trillion. Hedge funds have $5 trillion now. That's a record. They've never had more, they've never had as much money. So you have $5 trillion. You have $5 trillion in hedge funds. $5 trillion, 300 plus trillion in debt. Oh, by the way, record credit card debt, record household debt in the U.S., record household debt. I mean, it's just getting worse and worse. It's just getting worse and worse. And here's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the issue. Is there anything mashed potato brains Biden is doing? Like, does he have any plan or strategy to combat and to address economic growth? He came in and he said, oh, well, we want Build Back Better. Every time I hear that, I think Baby Got Back by Sir Mix-a-Lot. That's all I think about. That's all I think about. But he said, oh, Build Back Better. Yes, it's fantastic. Yeah, come on, man. 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 And it's like, you're like, it's like, how is that going to help the economy? And it was such a horrible plan that, what was it, Goldman Sachs, others, they did these evaluations of it, and they said, oh yeah, about 10 years or so, it'll contract GDP, or 5 years. What's the point? You're going to shrink the economy in the future from this wonderful economic plan? What's the point? They're like, oh, it's social and economic and moral justice. You've made everything more expensive, you imbeciles. They're talking about working class people and the working poor. JG! Hello, JG. I hope all is well, JG. Hope you're having a great evening, great Friday. Thank you, JG. And it's like, you go on the left, they're still talking about economic justice, systemic issues, and they don't realize that they vote for a political side. They vote for a political side where their policies make things worse for people. They don't understand, like, inflation. Inflation is a tax. Real wages are down 2.73%. So they look at wage growth, but with inflation, they're actually losing. People are actually losing money in their paycheck. They're actually making less money. I think faith. I think that it's hard to determine when the market will stop descending. I don't think we're close, though. It's hard to determine when, because, if you buy all the way down, granted, there's no way of really knowing when the market's going to bottom out. But you buy all the way down, you're going to keep losing money all the way down. All I'm saying is I don't think that we're even close. I don't think we're even close to the bottom of this market. Because like I said, if corporate profits get to around where they were in 2000, we're still looking at 1,000 points down on the Dow. I mean, the S&P. And actually thousands of points down on the Dow. So. I mean, and that's the thing. I mean, Elon Musk knows he's not going to have those Tesla shares at 700 for long. Tesla is not going to be. Tesla's not going to be. Year to date, it went from $1,200 all the way down to like what, $769 now. Wow. That is, and Tesla's going to get down way low, probably half. I mean, remember this live stream, ladies and gentlemen, you know? I wouldn't touch any stock now. Definitely not. Even Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000. You look at Bitcoin. I've been saying that Bitcoin's going to get to 10,000 for a long time. Year to date, it's down 18,000. From when I was talking about this in September, went from 50,000. I said September it's going to tank to 29,000 now. But see, again, like, Bitcoin is interesting because it is like, you don't want to have like a philosophy tied to any investment. That's why when they're like, oh, this is investment to help the planet, run. Run as far away as you can. Okay? What's the investment called? The socially responsible stocks and investment. You definitely don't want, just run as far away as possible. ESG. Don't invest in ESG funds. This is the thing. Environmental, social, and governance. You don't want to invest in any, you don't want to invest in any company or any, you don't want to invest in an idea. You want to invest in something that makes money and that isn't overvalued. That's all. You just want to invest in something that isn't overvalued, that isn't going to tank. You want to keep your principal, number one. You don't want to lose the money you put in. You want to make money, but the only way to do that is to ensure that you don't invest in something that a lot of people feel is worthless. No, I think Bitcoin, the philosophy behind it is intriguing, but it's going to get to 10,000. It's gonna be no. I think Bitcoin is no good. I mean, I think Tesla is way too expensive now. I think Tesla's gonna tank. 104p is no good. But I mean, this is gonna get to, if you look, all you have to do is look at Bitcoin in the 5-year. Last time it was at around 10,000. Was going into 2021. Check this out, people. Check this out. And the question here is, it's pretty obvious. The only reason it went up, the primary reason, is because the stock market in general went up. It went from 11,000 to 55,000 in what? October, November, December, January, February, March? 6 months? For what reason? What purpose? For like, why? How did it become more valuable? There was no reason. There was no, in terms of a philosophy, yes, there's people who truly believe in a philosophy behind it, and how it makes things more efficient, and you saw what happened in Canada. It's not the perfect currency or investment by any means. And it's not like governments can't suppress people, even if they, buy things with Bitcoin. So it's going to get back to 10,000. Now it could go up and then back again. It can go way up, or I should say back up, and then boom, down again. But yeah, I mean, this is the thing also. It's like, It really depends on, Bitcoin will get to 10,000. Now, if people buy it at 10,000, that's a different story. Because then it could go from 10,000 back up to 50 or 60. But he knows that. He has a lot of Bitcoin, Elon Musk, and he has Tesla, both of which are going to descend further. Maybe he doesn't think that, but the man is a lot more intelligent than I am when it comes to businesses and investing in the stock market and making money. The thing is, it just so happens that the two things that he owns, Tesla stock and Bitcoin, are going to crash a lot more. So now he's buying Twitter. He's buying Twitter because he has the money, and he knows that they're going to use this against him. We'll go 10 more minutes, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. He knows they're going to use Twitter against him, so he's like, he can buy it now, because this is going to be $35,000 in 6 months. That's not good. And 6 months ago, I said, ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the playlist, I said it's going to crash. I said it was going to crash. And I don't know when that 1 or 2 day, there will be a day, unfortunately, where, the Dow goes down. Let's see, Dow Jones. There will be a day, unfortunately, where the Dow goes down. So year to date, it's down 4,000, 12% year to date. There will be a day where it goes down 4,000, okay, which would be, over 10% or 6,000, or let's say 2,000 to 4,000. That there will be that day where it crashes and then continues to go down. I think that people don't really see this. A lot of people don't see it as a market crash, even though the whole thing's crashing. They'll see, they're waiting for that moment that people can point to and say, that's the day in 2022 where people lost so much. But the whole year people lost a lot. That's why I've been saying it's going to tank. And I'm telling people now, this is nothing. We haven't seen anything yet. When did the Dow go over 30,000? So it went over 30,000 at the end of 2020. But we had a much better economic environment at 28,000. We didn't have the inflation. We didn't have the national debt. We didn't have the geopolitical crisis and nightmares. So it's we had a much better economy 2 years ago in terms of fundamentals. But see, again, they just despise Trump's personality so much. They just can't stand Trump's personality. That's the thing. They can't stand Trump's personality. And Elon Musk said something. He's like, they wanted mashed potato brains Biden because he wasn't as, he was less drama. But see, again, Trump, it's true, he created a lot of drama by provoking a reaction. But anything he did, even when he didn't provoke a reaction, they were completely apoplectic. Media wanted to sensationalize everything. They wanted to sensationalize. Every day was just a chaotic whirlwind of, this apoplectic, hysterical type of reaction to anything Trump did. They tried their best, and they took the country down with them. They took they did their best, and then they pontificate about issues pertaining to economic justice. They make things worse from a systemic perspective. They make things worse. And then they talk about how, vote Democrat because of the working class or because of people in poverty, or they're making it worse. This inflation we see is a direct result of Democratic policies, a direct result. We did not have this. We didn't have the geopolitical nightmare under Trump. We didn't have the inflation or the skyrocketing fossil fuels under Trump. So just that alone, the question is, well, why didn't it happen under Trump? They could never answer that question. They can never answer that question. They just don't want to. They don't want to answer that question. So then today, the market went up, and I watch these financial channels, and they're like, "Oh, is this happening? Is this happening? The market's up. The market's up. Could it be up? Could it be? Could it be that we're back?" And it's like, no, don't. It's the like you're going to have the market descend and then climb back up. But the thing is, it's not going to, if it's a melt up, then it's just going to come crashing back down, because corporate profits, like if all you have to do is look at this chart, ladies and gentlemen. Where's that chart? Oh yeah, corporate profits. All you have to do is just look at this chart. If U.S. corporate profits descend to where they were in 2020, or close to where they were in 2020, first quarter of 2021, they don't even have to descend that far. First quarter of 2021, the market was a lot lower than it is now. So, I mean, it's right there. It's right there. If corporate profits descend to where you look at Q1 of 2021, then there you have it. There you have it. The whole thing tanks. The whole thing comes crashing down, more so than ever. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so very much to my super chat. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back in about an hour, people. So please, please, please be here in about 1 hour, ladies and gentlemen. Be here in 1 hour. The Durham Probe Special Counsel is... the Durham is going to get that conviction. And that will be very, very, very interesting to see what happens. The conviction could lead eventually to the indictment of a whole lot of people. Check out the segment prior to this one regarding Clinton. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. To my super chat, I cannot thank you enough, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you. I will see you all. I might do a super chat tomorrow. If not, almost certainly Sunday evening. Thanks, everybody. Have a blessed, beautiful Friday and a wonderful weekend. Thanks, everybody.